I'd like to invite up next Dr. Pamela High, who's a pediatrician and member of the Executive Committee of the Rhode Island chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, who's going to tell us some more about the impact on children's health and long-term success when they're born into poverty.
Thank you, Linda. So, I've been a pediatrician for more than 40 years. I'm actually admitting that, standing here in front of you. Nationally, I have served as the chairperson of the American Academy of Pediatrics Committee on Early Childhood. Currently, I lead the Division of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics, and we practice in the Children's Neurodevelopment Center in Hasbro Children's Hospital. My colleagues and I serve children with autism, with developmental disabilities, and those with behavioral, intellectual, and learning challenges. Throughout my career, I have witnessed the pervasive and detrimental impact of poverty on the families that I've cared for. Here in Rhode Island, in 2017, 18.9% of our children were living below the federal poverty line. This is the highest proportion of children living in poverty of all of the 6 New England states. Poverty disproportionately impacts our youngest and our most vulnerable citizens. Almost 21% of Rhode Island children younger than 6 in 2017 were living below that federal poverty. Poverty negatively influences every element of a child's health, safety, and well-being. Children in poverty, especially those who have experienced poverty in their early childhood and for prolonged periods of time, are more likely to experience difficulty with health problems and with behavior problems. They're more likely to have problems listening and learning when they're in school. They're more likely to become teenage parents, and they're more likely to continue the cycle of poverty as adults who are undereducated and underpaid and often have many more health problems as well. It's painful for me to see the impact of poverty on my patients. I can make sure that their medical needs are met. I can help them connect with needed educational and behavioral kinds of supports. But when families can't afford adequate food, they can't afford safe housing, and they have to struggle every day to make ends meet, I'm really at a loss. What I can provide is really not enough for these families. I want to talk a moment now about something called toxic stress. I'm not sure if you've heard of toxic stress, but by its very nature, it is severe and it is prolonged. And poverty is the biggest driver of toxic stress in young children. Toxic stress results in an exaggerated physiologic stress response, that fight or flight kind of response, which of course involves a child's brain, but it also impacts their bodily functions, including their blood pressure, their heart rate, their ability to fight infection, their immune response, their behaviors, their metabolism, and certainly their ability to pay attention and to learn. Improved support for Rhode Island Works is one strategy to help combat toxic stress in our state for young children and families. The goal of Rhode Island Works is to help every low-income family meet their basic needs by providing cash assistance, work support, including employment services, food stamps or SNAP benefits, health insurance, and subsidized child care when it is appropriate. And yet, as you've seen, since 1996, the cash assistance caseload has decreased by 77% from a little more than, I think, 15 or 16,000 cases down to a little more than 4,000. And the cash benefit has not been adjusted for inflation for more than 30 years. The American Academy of Pediatrics, at both the national and state levels, is committed to eradicating poverty among children because we know the short-term negative health impacts and also the long-term effects on our nation's health and well-being. So personally, on behalf of myself and also on behalf of the Rhode Island American Academy of Pediatrics, I want to strongly urge each of you to support this initiative to increase the benefits for Rhode Island Works. This is a very small but a very important step that our state can take to show that we value our children. And indeed, after all, children are our future. We really must put their needs first. Thank you for your time.